actually start my volunteering when I was around grade 6, the same time that I started the meditation practice. At that time, I volunteer at the temple in Thailand to help with like collecting donations and doing some kind of all the cleaning stuff in the temple. At that time, I didn't feel like, oh, that's great or whatever. I just feel like, oh, whatever I can help, I just help. I don't have any intention. I don't have any objective towards that at all. But when I was in university, the volunteering started to be more like something very kind of a bigger commitment. Yeah, I attended like applying as a member of the kind of peace club, but there is like can be called like Buddhist club or meditation club as well. At that time, I feel like I would say like I just would like to meditate. I would like to do some chanting at the club because it's the place where I can have my silent moments in the university. I didn't know that the club has so many activities and they require like lots of like commitment, a contribution from me. At the very beginning, everyone just welcomed me very well. Like I feel very warm being in the club. Like they have full of like food or snack or whatever. I just like go there to talk and to like release some of my stuff, my problems, and they are very good in coaching or advising. And then they've recommended me to read Dharma books, like inspirational books, to empower myself, to develop myself. But then when they think that I maybe became stronger or become like kind of like the core member, they started to assign some tasks to me. I remember at that time it was just the first year or the freshman, almost sophomore or the second year. And I was asked to do quite a big project. They asked me to create a poster to promote the national event. And that time, like 30 years ago, like we don't have like the program like Photoshop, Canva, to have that kind of artwork curated that easy. We have to just like manually doing it, like use scissor, use paper, like drawing with your hands. I study finance and banking.
You
I have
studied
no idea
finances?
of doing such a thing. And because the national event, it's a camp they call like mother's camp. Like they invite like students to join to learn about the mother's love and how to contribute to the family, such a things. And they have like around like few hundred people every year for that camp with the promotion, And so it's a collaboration between different universities in Thailand, like around more than 10 universities. And my university is one of the organizer. Yeah, and I'm not so sure why, but my university is responsible for promotion, like all the design, the graphic design, and they just divide the work, right? And then they just like the senior one, they got that, and then they just ask in the committee, like, who would like to do it? No one raised hands, including me, because I have no idea of doing so. And I asked back, oh, if no one can do that, how can it be? So the senior said, so there will don't have any material to promote. I just said, what? And I went back to think about that and then feel ashamed, like why that person say something like that to me? And I feel like, really, how can you have the participant if you don't promote it? And that's a very important material to have it. So I'm starting to think about that. And I went back next day to ask about the details of that thing. And I asked like, if I volunteer to do it, who will supervise me? Because I have no ideas of how to curate this design, And they said like, we are all busy with our studies because it's gonna be the test, because I study international program and they study Thai program. So our time is like different. That's why during this time, they cannot volunteer to do that. But I kind of like have a little bit of free time. Yeah, and then I decided to do it because the word is that if you do not do it, there's nothing out, right? So I'm just like, okay, I will try. Yeah. And I just like, how to say, actually at that time, I didn't know how to start. So I start with like going to this another senior from a university who study like architect, because I assume that he know how to drawing something, and because he's responsible for this graphic design in other project as well. Actually, I have to say, like, I started from scratch. I didn't know anything. I'm just like keep asking the guru how to do it. I have to go to the publisher. I have to go to different parties to learn how to do it. Even for the photo, I have to choose from the film. Do you know the film? Are you in the time that I think some of you are in time, right? That we don't have digital photo yet. So we have it in the film or in the slide, and I have to look at it one by one. Any one of you here is like, remember that stage? Raise your hand, please. So it means like I have to look at around like almost 1,000 photo or 1,000 slides, one by one, and choose from that, which means that I have to be able to notice every kind of different details of each photo, So I start to accumulate the know-how of how the good photo should be taken, because I also selected that together with the photographer, and I asked why you shot that way, why not this way, asking about the ideas or the concept of taking photo. And when you do an artwork, if you remember that time, you have to cut the paper and you post it on a bigger paper. And if you make it wrong, you have to do it totally the whole thing again, which makes me very conscious in doing each steps. And that helps me to be very detailed and very thorough in doing the design. And I went to the publisher, a publishing company, without knowing anything from what kind of paper you need to use, to the price, to the color used or whatever. So the publisher there have to teach me from zero. And at the end, finally, the product delivered, and then they posted everywhere around the country to promote this camp. And then in that year, they got few more people than normals. And someone said that actually I came because of that poster. I feel really attracted by the picture in the photo in the poster. So I came because of that. And some of the committee asked like, who did that? Like very professional in doing so. So everyone think that I'm very professional in doing so. No one knows the background, that how long that I planned for that, how long that I have to contribute for that. How can I balance the time with my studies in doing so? Because I'm really, really obsessed in doing that poster for a month. Yeah, I got compliment from that, even though that's not what I'm looking for. But I can imagine that from the poster, I feel more confident in doing something I never do. I never know about it at all. That's the starting of the ideas of like, actually, you can do whatever you never do. Because in our real life, we feel many times that we don't want to take a risk, right? Because that's the thing that we never do. We never have experience. So we fear of doing something new or fear of some challenges. So in a volunteering world, as I said, if I didn't do that, it's just nothing. So it's okay. Everyone will accept that anyway, whatever I delivered, right? So I feel like I have found the platform or the space for me to try my new skill without being complained. Because if I didn't do that, it's just nothing. I mean, like there's no loss. No one take any risk by my contribution or by my volunteer. Only they gain from my volunteering. So it seems that it's just a small thing that you just did the poster, but actually it gives you a big mindset. And it seems that you're giving something, right? It seems like I just giving time and effort to curate the poster, but actually I receiving more than that. So when you think about giving something without return, in return, you're receiving more than you're giving. Because from that poster, it opened up people's view about the new design of poster that it can be. Because in the past, they just repeated the same kind of the same style of design because the same person keep doing so. But when I'm very new, I don't have any background of what have to be done. So I'm creating something new that's called creative. And that make the outcome become better. In today's world, we are looking for creative solution, right? We're looking for creative kind of way to dealing things all the time. How can we come up with being creative? So it's kind of like accumulated. This kind of thing, it's just not just like pop up one time, but it's just like coming with our kind of accumulations of the knowledge and of the practice. So after doing poster and I think what I get, I never realized about that until when I started the project Peace Revolution. Because after the poster, I'm being more confident. I start to feel like, oh, I'm professional somehow. So I started doing different kind of design. I started to do newsletter, brochure, like all kinds of design actually, which are all the skills that I cannot have if I just study, because I study finance and banking and learning about international finance or stock market stuff. I never have a chance to have this kind of skills at all. And at a time when I started to, when I decided to commit it more to the nonprofit sector, not the profit sector, because I study for profit. I would like to become a businesswoman, but I just changed totally to the nonprofit. So at that time, when I started to lead the nonprofit organizations, it means like I need to know everything because I have to do it almost everything as well. Actually, I forget to mention that not only the graphic design that I developed during my volunteering, but I have to also raise funds to have the project done for the clubs like that, activities, everything. There's no funding from the university or for government, so we all have to raise funds. Which means that you have to present to the potential donors or potential sponsor, right, or supporters. So it means that you need to develop the presentation skill. So that's the kind of the things that I cannot have it if I'm just like studying without taking this volunteering, as a kind of the thing that help making me up to date. So we start Peace Revolution with the website, right? And that means that all the design. So it means that you need to have a content. And that's because I used to do the newsletter. So I know how to write the content to attract people. So I can write the content without hiring anyone to do it for me. And because I mentioned that I select like photos a lot. So I accumulate the know-how of how the good picture should be. So I'm being able to advise the photographer how to take photos and how to choose and editing photos. So actually, I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not a photographer. I'm not a webmaster. I'm nothing. But I know each element and I can advise on that. And that saves a lot of costs when you just started the NGO. You have to save as much cost as possible. So that's how I can make it possible at the very beginning. And because of like the experience in volunteering, I understand how volunteer feel and what volunteer will get. So when I doing this WPI, I understand the win-win situation the volunteer should get. Because when I was quite young, after I finished university, I still continue my volunteering and I got selected to represent the organizations abroad. So that's my first chance, to went abroad, like to Switzerland, to New York to present it. And that's the kind of rewards that I got from volunteering. So my family feel proud of me that, oh, why you have a chance to present, to speak publicly, when you was quite young, and they don't have to pay anything for me. So I would like to encourage all the club members to see the benefits, when you contribute on something, actually you got something in return. Especially you can volunteer like me to do things that you never do before. Don't be afraid, okay, that the committee will complain, okay? They didn't pay for you products or on your outcome. So I think today's with this digital disruptions world that we are facing, everything comes so sudden. The coronavirus, all the metaverse, all the stuff that's coming in. There's such a kind of sudden kind of change, So we have to be prepared for all the skills that we may have, Even though we have one set of skills, try to explore different kind of skills to be ready for the future. So yeah, so I think briefly that's what I would like to deliver. Maybe we are open for question and answer. So in my case, in my clubs, we have two kinds of activities. One kind is the kind of peace in activities, right? Which is like meditation for me because it's a Buddhist clubs. So I do the chanting, I do like Dharma sharing, like a group talk and exchanging, what we learn from the book or something like that. Okay, that's our peace in. And then we have a peace out. So in the peace out, we also divide into the daily activities or the weekly activities that we have to do with the university, because we would like to raise fund from university. We have to pay back to the university. I mean, to do something to let the university see that we are ongoing clubs. Okay, so and then we design for the weekly, right, monthly, and also an annual event. So each event we plan for different scale. Like for the weekly or the monthly, mostly we will do it with the university or with our supporters. You have to define the sponsor or spot supporters. For us in university, can you guess who can be our sponsor? The food stall around the university, inside and outside the university. They are our supporters because we can put their name in all the badge or the banners, whatever, because the customers are university students, right? So we think about something very close to us and very easy because we know like we all eat, and when we eat, we know the food stall, and then we just like feel like, we just share what we are doing with them, and they feel like, okay, you can put my names in return, sometimes with some few 10,000 or sometimes with free food. And at that time, because we still use lots of books, like notebooks and with writing. So we just find a sponsor, to put the logos or to put the name on the book, the notebook at the bottom of that. And then we print it out, the book, and sell it. And we just like stand in front of the gates of university, and then we just sell it out. And it depends on your design. And for us, we always sell out because of the design. And when we accumulate enough fund, we plan to do bigger project. Because like sometimes we have bigger projects and we analyze that students would like to go into this projects, into this camp, like Mother's Camp, because they would like to know people from other university. So if that's the main attraction, we have to collaborate with other university. So for when we have bigger funds, we can do bigger projects, but bigger projects sometimes involve different parties, different collaborators. So you have to networking with other people as well. Yeah, so you have to analyze the activities that will attract the most, people. And the best people that will join you is your volunteer. So for us, when we promote, and the first field registrar, we will ask them to volunteer. And the first volunteering is to spread out the words. How can you spread out the words? In which way? We discuss with them. Because those who show the interest the first are the ones who really, really like your projects. And they don't want us to cancel that. So they will help us. This is the nature of our activities in the past. Like that's why they will help us, support us in a way, like to cheer us up, not to cancel that. So they will be the ones who are the precious asset for you to have. In one of the activities that it's become a national event or national activities. So in that national event, we analyze that university students will have to go have to go abroad to go up country, and many people, especially Bangkokians, they love to go up country in different remote areas, free of charge. And then if that's are the incentive, so we promote with that incentive. You know, what they have to do is they have to organize an event for us up country. But the byproduct that they will get is they can traveling there. They can have sightseeing in the area there. So we promote that one as well as the volunteering work. You combine the incentive and you promote with it. Yeah. So find the right incentive for each of the projects, and then you will attract both participant and volunteer. But one of the key elements in doing this kind of volunteer work is that you have to enjoy doing it. Because for me at that time, even though I never know how to do it, but once I start doing it, I really obsessed with it because I feel really into it. I enjoy every moment of doing it because I feel it's a good challenge for me. I didn't do it because I have to do it. I never do the work like that. I always put the energy and the feeling, the good feelings toward what I'm doing, so that good energy or positive energy spread out to people around me. So when they see me, they feel like they would like to join force because they see so many good positive vibes, occurring around me. So let's volunteer work, fulfill your life, fulfill the part that you're looking for. And that will make it long term.